Ah. If you can avoid these two mistakes, your Chinese will sound more like a native. 黄曲项向天歌. Hello, this is Jen. As a Chinese learner, do you find that Chinese characters are difficult to get used to? Or are they the same for you? For example, does this sound the same for you? 问 吻 or 水饺睡觉. If so, please keep on watching. In this video, I'm going to share with you an effective and specific way to get over it. First, we need to change mindset. Don't think Chinese tones are unique. They appear in our everyday life. Each language we speak has a tone. It's not something that you never experience, feel, or hear before. Take English as an example. When you say the word happy, it contains two syllables, right? Ha and P. Each one of them has a tone, and the first syllable ha is a first tone. P is like a neutral tone. So when you pronounce this way, happy, it will sound like the Chinese 吃了 first and neutral tone. 吃了 happy 吃了 right? It's just sound. Other than happy, you will also pronounce it in a different way, like happy, right? Whether you read happy or happy, they are all the same, right? But in Chinese, it will be different. So when you read happy, the ha become a second tone, p become a first tone. However you read it, it always has a tone. So you see, to read or to pronounce a tone is not a problem. The problem is to correctly match a sound as a certain tone. Because in your language, you don't have a syllable that need to be read as a certain tone, as a fixed tone, right? You can just read whatever you like. If you have learned the Chinese basic four tones, they are ah, 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 ah. And if I want you to match happy as true third tone, do you know how to pronounce that? That will be ha, pi. It's still English word, right? But just with a very weird sound for you. Ha, pi. And if we make it into fourth tone, that will be ha, pi. It's even more weird, right? So as you see, speaking Chinese just like singing songs, right? And the is our basic scale, just like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si for music. And every syllable we speak is the lyrics of our songs. And the songs we are saying is just the random combination of the sound of For example, 你吃饭了吗? Just as 现在几点了? Or 你学中文多久了? They are all based on the four tones. Based on my years of teaching, in order to master Chinese tones in a short time, there are two steps. First is to remember the four tones. And this is what most of the students are focusing on, but it's not enough. We also need to train our brain to get used to the rapid tone change when speaking. Otherwise, even you can read a Chinese word in a correct tone, you will get lost and mixed up the tones when it comes a longer sentences, which might also lead to misunderstandings in communication. Let's talk about the first step. To remember the four sound, I do have some tips for you. To remember the first sound, you can just remember it sounds like a saw in music. Or if it's difficult for you to find a song, you can remember the happy birthday song. When you sing happy birthday to you, the first syllable, the first word of ha is just the first tone. Happy, ha is first tone. So it's like ma, ta, he, or chi. They are the same sound. You might ask, in music, you can have a lower or higher pitch, right? In Chinese, it's the same. It depends on your own throat. So you can pronounce like very low, or a bit high, or very high. Depends on your throat. The common mistakes for students to remember first tone is they read it too short. They read it like but it's actually we need to keep the sound last a bit longer. And the second mistake is they cannot keep the sound till the end. So the correct one is right? Always but some students read like or something like that. We need to keep the same sound till the end. No going up or going down. That's the two common mistakes for most of the students reading first tone. If you can avoid these two mistakes, your Chinese will sound more like a native. Next is the second tone. Second tone is easy. You can just remember it sounds like question tone in English. When you say okay or right or yes, they are all second tone. Like 忙、黄、石、白. Here comes the third tone. The third tone is a little bit similar with the second tone. That's the common mistakes that some students will mix up the second tone and the third tone. Second tone, third tone, ah. Do you hear the difference? Obviously, the third tone has a very low turning point, right? We pronounce very low here, and then we go up. The second tone just go up directly, the third tone go down and go up. To remember this, you can just remember the English word but make it slower. That's a third tone. Next is the fourth tone. I think fourth tone is the most weird sound for most of the English speakers, because when we pronounce fourth tone, we kind of use an energy from the chest, and it's heavy and it's strong. When you are angry and you say no in English, that's a fourth tone. Or when you get hurt, you might say ouch. The ow is also fourth tone. So angry no and painful ouch are all fourth tone. Like 看、上、下, they are all fourth tone. So these are the tips for remembering four tones. Now let's review again. From happy. From happy. From right. From right. From 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 no. From ouch. The second step to master Chinese tones is to train our brain to get used to the rapid tone change while speaking a long sentence. So to do so, the best and fastest way is to recite easy Chinese poems. Why should we recite a Chinese poem? Because Chinese poetry has a rhythmic and melodic quality that's captivating. So it will be like learning singing a song. Once you got it down, it stays with you. Moreover, Chinese poetry are mostly short in length, so it will be very easy for you to remember and to start. I recommend this poem that almost every Chinese person have recited during their childhood. The first one, 曲项向天歌，白毛浮绿水，红掌拨清波。The second one, 床前明月光，疑是地上霜。举头望明月，低头思故乡。The third one, 一去二三里，烟村四五家。亭台六七座，八九十枝花。Though these poems are very short, they contain all the Chinese tongues. When you can recite those poems with accurate tones, repeatedly going through them in your mind every day, gradually your mind will become accustomed to the rhythm of the tone change while speaking. Then when you speak Chinese even very fast, you will still keep the tone right for each character, and it won't be awkward for you. In order to help you remember, I will read the 3 poems several times with different speed. You can try to listen to it over and over again until you remember. The first one, 曲项向天歌，白毛浮绿水，红掌拨清波。曲项向天歌，白毛浮绿水，红掌拨清波。曲项向天歌，白毛浮绿水，红掌拨清波。Second one, 床前明月光，疑是地上霜。举头望明月，低头思故乡。床前明月光，疑是地上霜。举头望明月，低头思故乡。The third one, 一去二三里，烟村四五家。亭台六七座，八九十枝花。一去二三里，一去二三里，烟村四五家。亭台六七座，八九十枝花。Try to watch and listen to it before you go to sleep and review it in the morning. Also record your reading on the first day. Hopefully you will find how much you've improved in Chinese speaking when you come back to listen to it. 晚安。